Hello, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Beyond the Summit presentation of the Starladder I-League 13 Chinese Division. The draft is actually going really fast. I actually jumped it in Phase 1. We started the pre-roll, but we're already into it. So let's go ahead and look at this draft while I introduce myself, Blaze, as well as my wonderful co-caster for this Best of 3 series here in the lower bracket semifinal. That's right, it's Hades Dota. What's going on?
What's up, everybody? And hi, Blaze. Thank you. And okay, this game so far, I mean, we're pretty much already more than halfway through the draft. Interesting picks. I mean, Newbee.Y, DK. We rarely see a Dragon Knight really work out, but it's nice to see that we have the Winter Wyvern and Bane in the pool, which is, the heroes being picked up. Because compared to the previous best of 3, these two heroes were the priority bans. So it's a nice change, and it looks like Newbee.Y, they ban out the Bat Rider. I mean, what are your thoughts on this Bat Rider ban?
I mean, just in general, it shows respect for Inflame. I feel like in the previous series we got to see from CDEC Youth, Inflame was really the MVP. He was able to do so much on his versatile hero pool, and banning out heroes like Invoker and Batrider from under him is a big way to change CDEC's playstyle here. Might still pick up the Alchemist for the mid here, actually it's more likely than not, but with the Queen of Pain ban, we see SCC actually forced into something that's a little bit less comfortable for him. He loves his Queen of Pain, but he's going to go for the DK, and Dragon Knight versus Alchemist is definitely not a clear-cut matchup. We're going to have to see some good stack stealing from the Gyrocopter to the Dragon Knight. They shouldn't have too much trouble with that, though. They're great heroes for it. Really, what comes down to, for me, is how well Newbee.Y are going to be able to invade the jungle of CDEC Youth and really start stifling their economy, because just resting on their laurels, Newbee.Y have a decent team, but the CDEC Youth with the Alchemists are going to have a better one. It feels like Newbee.Y really need to look to contest, look to get involved, and look to get active on the map early.
And it's also worth noting that in both these two teams, they actually have decent heroes which are good at clearing each other's stacks. So Dragon Knight, he can always go in with the Dragon form, take away Alchemist stacks. Even if it's Ancient, Hard Camp, it doesn't make a difference. Gyrocopter likewise, he can come in with Call Down and Flash Farm the Alchemist stacks and steal it if he wants. And for CDEC Youth, I mean, besides the Acid Spray, you always have the Undying Tombstone. But now when it comes down to the team fight potential, both are really scary. Bane is always good for isolating that Alchemist, but you always have to be careful about the Ancient Apparition with the Ice Blast. A really good Ice Blast can really mess around, especially with the Winter Wyvern.
Absolutely. So it just comes down to timing here, and if the Ancient Emperor can get his level 6 fast enough, I think that they're in a good position to control the mid game. But obviously, Bane and Wyvern are great heroes in the laning phase. Arctic Burn, tankiness with Brain Sap, you can really start to kind of levy your advantage in each individual lane, especially if they go for the dual lane mid. Bane Dragon Knight versus an Alchemist, like, even if the Undying is supporting the Alchemist there, if Bane gets enough distance where you can't get the double decay off, I feel like Newbee.Y are going to have a really substantial advantage in the early laning phase. And of course, Wyvern Gyrocopter, we've seen that a lot. And all that's left is the final piece of the puzzle here. The Phoenix is actually coming out for Newbee.Y. So they're going to be running that off-lane Phoenix, Wyvern Gyrocopter safe, Dragon Knight in the mid with Bane roaming. And the answer is going to be the Juggernaut. Well, the Wraith King did get banned out. Ame still feels confident in the Juggernaut here. He can still spin and hit the egg, and that's a pretty big aspect of his ability to obviously contribute to the team fight. But this does mean they have 4 melee heroes, and it makes it much more difficult to position against the Winter Wyvern.
Exactly, and also against the Phoenix, so you mean Winter's Curse, the Phoenix Egg. You've got a really scary combination of fire and ice here, and whew, I mean, I worry for CDEC Youth because right now Newbee.Y, they have such a scary lineup. But the thing is, it's about the Dragon Knight mid, because the Ancient Apparition or the Undying, I mean, the Undying comes to the mid, it's pretty much going to be a very tough lane for both the Alchemist and the Dragon Knight because of these two heroes, the Bane and the Undying. So it's going to boil down to probably like the off lane where the Tusk and the Phoenix will have to do their best to try and create all this space and buy an advantage. I mean, Tusk has that roaming potential to rotate to the mid compared to the Phoenix, who's not exactly good at helping out the mid.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely creates some dynamic potential for CDEC's lanes, but I still think the team fight of Newbee is just so scary. And when you look at different abilities they're going to be able to throw down every single fight, it's going to be so difficult to actually contest them in a 5-man sense. Obviously, I'm looking at the Call Down, the Winter Wyvern's Ultimate, the Winter's Curse, as well as the Supernova. Those 3 combined together, you've got a ton of area denial that, with the Winter's Curse in particular, you can't break the egg, so you're always fighting at a disadvantage. And if there's enough chase and enough follow through with like maybe even just a drum charge being used to finish off fleeing targets, then you've got yourself a hell of an advantage in the first half of the fight. And it's just about CDEC avoiding that, playing their farming game, and getting so much net worth that ultimate advantage doesn't matter.
And well, I mean, it's very hard to find a solution right now to counter into the Phoenix Egg and the Winter Wyvern. I mean, the best case scenario you can probably picture for CDEC Youth is that they get the a surprise initiation, kill off the rest of Newbee before the Phoenix Egg, because the Phoenix Egg is not that significant if you kill off the rest of the team. Alright, be right back. I have to do a quick reconnect.
Sure enough. So we've got EHOME here, very interesting Juggernaut set. I don't think I've seen this one, but he's roaming around. He's going to be playing the safe lane Juggernaut, actually starting with boots first. That's, I think, mostly to dodge out Fire Spirits. If he sees them coming, has the extra movement speed, he might be able to avoid getting that harassment from the Fire Spirits, which of course means he's got full attack speed on the creep wave. Very important there. Beyond that, we're going to see the movement towards this top boundary, and it looks like Inflame's got this one no problem at all. Grievel's Greed already skilled up, very confident as he moves forward. Obviously, Phoenix Icarus Dive is something scary. If the Boundary Rune Snipe comes through, it could be game-changing, but they're already ready for it. They make sure it's not a possibility, and Inflame starts himself off with 600 gold.
And yep, it's going to be that dual lane mid, which are specified during the draft. Things are going to be quite messy here. I like this DK set, by the way. I like the Javelin.
Pretty cool stuff. Them doing. I have a lot of cosmetics actually going back and forth, but Demon's going to be decaying onto the DK. Once he gets Dragon's Blood, this won't be that big of a factor, but he might be tempted to go for the Dragon Tail early. Obviously, having the bottle to sustain his mana pool, he has a chance to use that spell, but also makes himself a little vulnerable with the reduced health pool. I mean, right now, look at him. This is a Dragonite with 370 max health. You just don't see that.
He's almost like a Shadow Fiend in level 1.
Very vulnerable. Oh my gosh, and he's just eating more decay. He's going to really be dependent on this bottle, and it looks like he's keeping around to Crow it even, just for that reason.
Again, dying is a really good pick, because when he steals strength, not only is he stealing HP, he's stealing base damage from the Dragonite as well. So that's why he's going to be not just dependent, he's going to be super dependent on this bottle. And up top lane, EHOME going on L. Bane's going to try to look for that. He has the brain set, but here comes Icarus Dive. But the Chilling Touch is coming out. They need one more right click. They're not going to get it actually. Yeah, this is the death. Oh, goodbye.
Yeah, nicely done there. Good target switching there. EHOME also dancing within the flames. He's essentially able to dodge out both instances of potential damage over time from the Icarus Dive. Actually, going to be a death of the Wyvern down bottom as June just goes in aggressive, finds an opportunity to make a 1-for-1 happen. You can argue that that's worth it. Okay, I don't know what's going on with him, but yeah.
You might want to mute all chat.
Yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I guess it depends on like what kind of, if it's a player, if it's a spectator. But anyways, what I was saying is, yeah, essentially some people would argue that that's really good for the Tusk because he gets that solo experience on a kill. But of course, you are feeding Gyrocopter a little bit of gold momentum. I think it's good and bad for the most part, and you can argue it both ways depending on the heroes involved.
True. Okay, back to last hits. Alchemist actually is doing very well because he got double bounty runes so far consecutively, so he's gonna get a good start. Judging from his skill build so far, it doesn't look to be that Medallion Solar Crest build, which we've been seeing so far. It's probably gonna be the Radiance actually.
Yeah, I can see some good value with that. Ice Blast and Radiance are really strong together. Might not go further with that into like that Manta Octarine stuff, but still at least getting the Radiance online really allows him to really ramp up his farm potential. Considering going under tower here, but they don't end up following through. Just poking back the Phoenix and he'll pop his healing salve. His next goal, obviously, the Tranquil Boots. He's got to get those pretty soon, or he's going to have to go back to base once or twice.
Yeah, but oh well, this is actually a pretty big wave, so your Phoenix is going to get a lot more. He's finally going to get this level 2. Well, your Tuskar, actually, thanks to that kill, he's already level 4. He's way ahead of the Phoenix. Jia did get a counter kill on him earlier on, and middle lane SCC, he's actually going to have a very tough time against Inflame. He's 11-7 compared to your Alchemist, who is at 17-5, and it doesn't look like Inflame is going to be stopped anytime soon.
Yeah, nice little region win for SCC. At least tops him off here. Good mana and HP flow, so he's going to be able to come back a little bit in the lane here. But yeah, overall, the Undying presence took its toll. Demons is still level 1, by the way. Arguably the best level 1 hero because of the Strength of Decay, but at the same time, he did obviously commit a lot to roaming mid and bottom, and has really not made much time for himself.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
So being a selfless support and Inflame, he gets another bounty. There's 3 bounties already. And actually, no, wait. May not be Radiance after all. He does go for Treads first.
Okay. So yeah, and even seeing the Sage's Mask, yeah, we're going to be definitely seeing that Medallion build up. So just a little bit delayed in the concoction, but that's fine. Acid Spray, obviously great against the melee in a 1v1 matchup, just kind of forcing him off the creep wave multiple times over. So Inflame getting things done, and he's still going to be involved very early on.
Demons needs like the Tombstone. He needs to be level 4. Then they can start to pressure this Gyrocopter a bit more. Otherwise, yeah, it's just a stalemate for now. Phoenix is still very far from level 6.
Yeah, of course he's going to be struggling here. He's getting some dueling help from the Bane. He's going to get a pull here to try to reset the Creequilibrium, but just all in all, this is not the game for him. It's going to be slow progression. He's still going to... Even level 1 egg is going to be good here because of the Wyvern ultimate, the cooldown, as mentioned before, but he's definitely going to want to build up something like a Midas or something to still be high impact towards the mid to late game.
Right now, stronger mid game, stronger mid. I think it's quite even, but maybe even edge just because of the Gyrocopter. That's where he usually should peak. Right now, I'm just concerned about the Dragon Knight, whether he can actually take these stacks, because I'm pretty sure CDEC, they're planning to steal this because of this Observer Ward over here. They didn't block it out, so they probably do plan to take it from the Dragon Knight.
I really like this rotation from Inflame. Going into the jungle here, even though these camps aren't stacked, it's not the most efficient use of his time, he's getting Demon solo experience, which is so important. The fact that the Undying can actually build up his levels while while Inflame gets a decent amount from the jungle through Spray and Greed is actually going to be huge, and then of course it's perfectly timed with the 6-minute spawn of the Bounty Rune. He's going to stack up the camp with an Acid Spray hit, and he's still going to be able to get himself yet another Bounty Rune.
Make that 4.
And it's so funny looking at last hits and then looking at net worth. This Alchemist is 0-0-0 on KDA. He's equal in last hits to most of the heroes on the map. In fact, he's 7 last hits behind the Gyrocopter, and yet because of Creeple's Greed and because of all these bounty runes, he's over 1100 net worth already ahead of anybody else on the map.
Yeah, and on Dragon Knight, he pops his Dragon form. He wants to be pushing this bottom lane. They want to just take a bit of pressure off the mid, but I don't think Alchemist even cares, because, like you mentioned, he's just giving solo EXP to Demons, who apparently doesn't want it anymore. So, yeah, he's just back to the bottom lane trying to defend. Well, he did see the Dragon form, so it would be a pity to give that up. It's only a level 1 Tombstone if he decides to go for it, but it's really not worth it. The level 1 Tombstone is pretty much a free 50 gold. Or 75.
So, we're going to be seeing him rotate to defend the tower. I'm having a small lag spike here, unfortunately, some packet loss from Perfect World. If that does not dissipate, I'm going to have to reset, but just suddenly, it was perfectly smooth. I think I had a dropout for like 30 seconds at the beginning, and then since then I've been absolutely fine, but now we've got some problems. So you'll have to do a bit of radio casting while I reconnect in.
No problem. And Perfect Will, so that's your problem world service. Over here, Phoenix is getting closer to level 6, so that should be noted that CDEC is probably going to be a bit more like passive in terms of their playstyle, because you don't want to be fighting into both the Egg and the Curse. But then again, the Bride's MMR, he's only halfway to level 6. He's getting close to level 4. So you can see here that Jiajia's giving a bit of solo EXP to the Winter Wyvern at the bottom lane. But top lane, I think they should, yeah, they want to get a kill, but they just don't have the stuns to lock or cancel the dive. Over here, Inflame will have the Medallion and Tread, so Solar Crest coming up soon. With the bottle, he's always going to be very, very healthy. Luz decided to stack the Heart Camp as well, seeing as it's a very healthy 4-stack of Ancients for the Dragon Knight later on. And yep, you should be getting it soon.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be level 11 for the Dragon Knight. You can do it pretty much as soon as level 7 comes out for the Gyrocopter, though it will take about like 90 seconds to clear it out. So, do you think they're going to leave it on the map all the way until DK hits level 11, or do they just have to get the Gyrocopter to take it as soon as possible?
Gyro has to take it as soon as possible. Because right now, the Gyro is the one who has to create the space for the DK. It's not the other way around. DK takes quite a while to come online, and Chinese teams, they do know that. So that's why they always go for a gyro and a DK together. CDEC, they're perfectly fine with this though, because this pace of this game is really slow. They can actually farm up, and a Solar Crest is actually very, very closely on the way for Inflame.
Yeah, it's also a really good item to counter out the gyrocopter. Like that, the mischance applies to the flat cannon hits as well. And if you consider the fact that flat cannon doesn't even trigger until he hits his primary target, you can actually square the mischance in terms of the probability to miss on that secondary target if he's trying to flack off a primary.
Alright, hold on. We have a smoke gang, the 3 men. Yep, they do spot 3 heroes. They're gonna go. Oh, Snowball, that's a bad idea, but no, they will kill the gyro before he gets his called on off. And Ancient Aberration will find himself another kill, so 2 for 0. And the Tombstone is up as well. SCC gonna fall, so double kill for the Undying. And the Winter Viper will kill off the Tusk. But no, the Blade Dance is gonna kill MRR. It's gonna be a 4 for 1 trade. The Tusker does fall, but alright, and no egg was used this day. And just like that, CDEC with a very nice smoke rotation, it's perfect timing. Well timed actually to just kill the gyro before he got any of the spells off. They were very quick on that one, and this T1 should go the way of CDEC Youth.
Absolutely. Just the fact that there was no call down or Phoenix Egg in that is just a huge win for that of CDEC Youth. And they don't unfortunately get the tower as a result of that, but still getting that kill momentum before Newbee.Y's teamfight is really at its strongest. That's a really big deal. Of course, the Supernova could be a clutch factor, but you can't use it in a losing fight, right? Like, we're talking about all these ways to keep the egg alive, but end of the day, if you're already lost one hero really quickly, then it's just going to get worse when you pop the egg. It actually makes you very, very vulnerable.
Yep, and I think at the same time it was probably because they were caught so unawares, and they were just boxed in. The Phoenix does just like a super slow TPN. Otherwise, I think they actually could have turned it around, but it was just so hard seeing as CDEC Youth came from 2 different directions. Meanwhile, Inflame, he's going to look for a stun, but nah, he's going to stun himself.
Yeah.
His ward over here spots them out.
Yep, so I think that also reveals the fact that Dire have a ward in this position, because... Alright, so they did put a sentry there, and they're ready to clear it, yeah. The fact that he goes for a concoction without any other intel, that will definitely give Lei the information he needs to get the jungle under safe. And he is, I think, just on the line, just south of the line for the hard camp, so they'll still have their jungle fully available to them. And it's going to be a very interesting smoke movement here, I guess using the Ice Blast to try to get an opportunity here on the Phoenix. The dive away could create some issues as they don't really have a good stun to prevent this. In fact, Phoenix is free to dive away unless the Tusk hits him.
You need the Tusk. Yeah, they will. Snowball, there we go. Needs to dive away right now, but just bit off.
Yeah. Just a little bit too much to ask of him, honestly. Just the distance, the range. As long as Phoenix stays on the western half of the lane, he's going to see that coming. So good positioning there from the Phoenix, and of course, he's ready to disengage. I do have some fun bugs here. As we did the reconnect, now I have like a Dragonite running out with... He had all that really cool set of armor before, now he's got nothing. He's a peasant roaming around with just a basic mail. That's very interesting.
You want to do a quick reconnect? I think one more reconnect.
No, I'm good. I'm good now. It's just some silly bugs in the aftermath. Oh, I might get caught by the Winter's Curse. Gonna be pretty much a free pickup since they commit so many ultimates to it. Call down Winter's Curse and the Fiend's Grip. Of course, you'll say it's worth it, but I think CDEC.Y will probably just look to push down mid as a result of those cooldowns being unavailable.
And Alchemist just got his 5th bounty win of the game. He's just rolling in cash right now. Rolling in cash.
So I think Alchemist is just going to solo push the tower down. Essentially, what Newbee.Y think that CDEC.Y are going to do is just go mid, but because of just essentially just rotating top, because they're like, okay, well if we go mid, you're going to trade 1-for-1 on towers, but you're the ones with no ultimates, so we're going to put some pressure out here. And I think that even without the Tombstone, they can not only hold their top lane, but take down the mid. Inflame already taking down the tier 1. And that's just good game sense. CDEC knowing that there's no reason to give Newbee anything for free. They can definitely have their cake and eat it too here.
And this actually opens up Roshan for them because of the Solar Crest and the Juggernaut. They can really take Roshan quite easily, but they need to win one more team fight. And yeah, he just got a blanket as well, so Inflame will be able to initiate fights. Complements this Invis rune, so maybe he might be thinking about it, or just getting a quick rotation to the top and take this T1.
For now, Dire probably focus mostly on the top lane. You look at their wards, and their observer ward's very recently placed, obviously for the exchange they just had in the jungle against the Bane, but also towards this top rune area. So they definitely want to prioritize taking this tier 1 tower down, and they're just using vision to kind of give them the opening for it.
Yeah, it's pretty much what is the wiser decision at the moment. You force them to the top, you win a team fight there, then yeah, it makes things much easier. But actually, wait, Inflame. Oh, he's gonna get the full duration off, almost, and Inflame is coming in for love. We have a Nova, he might be forced to, yeah, there we go. It's gonna combine with the Winter Wyvern's Curse, and Egg's gonna get the full duration off, and 125 gold going to Jia. He gets a huge kill on the Alchemist.
Yeah, and like I actually that was so smart. They had the Sentry Ward. They could have reacted a lot better to that situation in terms of preventing the initiation, but they actually just let him walk into his own demise. He goes in all the way to the Bane, and that far you can't escape. They just pretty much chain stun him from there. It's actually a really well thought out bait. He just kind of sits there as if he doesn't see him, just to make sure that he doesn't scare him off. Another reason why fighting at the top lane is good for CDEC is because Gyrocopter and Dragonite want to take advantage of the jungle. They want to be not only fighting but farming at the most efficient pace. And when you're forced into top lane and maybe you only have like one camp to work with from the Dire side, you're really not taking advantage of the map. So they're going to try to break away from this top lane. They're going to try to get back into their jungle, and we're going to see Jia make his way down bottom, which actually might leave him vulnerable here.
Ice Blast.
It's on cooldown for now, but they're still going to take a lot of damage. Didn't get the Acid Spray down, but the Solar Crest, the Cold Feet, the right clicks, and that's the death of the Gyrocopter.
He has a Fiend's Grip.
Interesting. Gonna actually Fiends on Icy, kill him off quick, and they're gonna get the damage over time on Inflame. So now they Blink Stun, SCC picks up a Blink Dagger of his own, and while Inflame will get that concoction off, he might not get away. Chemical Rage is expiring, but of course he gets the blink away. So Ame here on top lane, tier 2 glyph forced out, and at least for now, CDEC in a pretty good position on both sides of the map.
He went for the Fiend's Grip on the AA, not only because he wanted to prevent the Ice Blast, but at the same time it was not damage efficient on the Alchemist since he did have the Chemical Rage on. So it was better like securing a kill on the AA, and this way they could spend more resources, you know, fighting the Alchemist, but no. And they do get the top T1.
Yep, so pretty solid, though the tier 2 does take down to 288. It won't be falling just yet. A lot of Midas is actually going to be coming out this game. I was thinking that there was a possibility that one of the two teams couldn't afford to go for Midas, just because of how active this game would be. But it looks like both sides are going to commit to exactly one. One for the Ancient Apparition of Icy, and one for the Phoenix.
As Triple C, I mean, also back at the bottom, he did reveal that he has a blink. So CDEC have to be very careful now. And Inflame, Sanch, and Yasha on the way. Gyro is really getting closer to his own, but it could be just a casual battle strength into a BKB. That could help. Demons is making his way towards a mech. So yeah, Newbee just playing very passive, very disciplined. They're going to stay in their side of the jungle, not really explore or even try for smoke. The CDEC youth might change that. Do they have a smoke? Yeah, they do.
Yep, Ancient Apparition has it available. Inflame even coming into range, so they can go for the 4-man play. Pinging out Roshan. They think they're going to have to scout it. Instead, they're going to be in a heavy confrontation very quick with the call down slow, though. Inflame does get the concoction off just before a beautiful Winter's Curse onto all of them. The Omni Slash not available just yet. The Phoenix Egg on the high ground. Will they actually be able to break it? No, they're running. They're scattering like flies, and we're going to see June isolated completely. SCC will bring him down very quickly. Nice combo of nukes, and maybe even considering Roche, not with those ultimates down. If the Gyrocopter didn't die in the process, then they'd have enough damage to do it with or without ultis. But since they don't have ultis and they don't have a Gyrocopter, they have to just go for the easy objective, which is the tier 1. There's still an Omni Slash available, but Ame probably can't do anything alone since he's only level 10.
Some of the requirements at least would be to take care of the Alchemist. The Alchemist was down, they probably could have fought since there is no Tombstone. The Juggernaut Omni Slash is not that big right now since they have, you know, all these amazing heroes which can deal with it pretty well, like the Winter's Curse. So I mean the Cold Embrace. So yeah, just gonna leave it be, and Dragonite denying more runes to the Alchemist. And the TP is gonna come into the bottom again. CDEC very eager to take control of this part of the Radiant jungle.
Gotta say though, that was a great ice shard from June. If they didn't have that ice shard, they probably wouldn't have caught the gyrocopter, and then it would just be disastrous for CDEC. But they do catch the gyro, big pickoff for them, and without hesitation, those ultimate cooldowns are costing Newbee a foothold here. These 30 seconds are ones that CDEC will happily take advantage of. Knowing the timing, knowing the risk, they go in for Roshan, all of them, and there's nothing that Newbee really can do about it, thanks to that fight not going as disastrously for CDEC as it could have.
Now, yep, they just want to farm, get more items up. The good thing about CDEC is that, you know, their lineup can fight so much more often compared to Newbee.Y, where they're so dependent on their ults. So without the Nova, without the Curse, they, like you mentioned, they really can't do anything.
Yeah, other than Omni Slash, they don't have any major cooldown. Everything's like 45 seconds or less, with the exception of the Omni Slash, and that's a big deal, just being able to continue to make the engagements happen. Whereas the Winter's Curse and Supernova will be used in conjunction with one another, and there's always going to be that timing window they can maybe exploit.
Radiant's bottom tower has
Phoenix tried to slow down the push, but to no avail. So now they're going to just try and push the top lane, but nah, CDEC already back to top and to defend it out. June is going to Glimmer.K, so that's really good, especially against, it's going to help maybe kite around the Alchemist. If he gets the right target, the Glimmer.K, it's going to save him. And of course from the Juggernaut Omni Slash.
And there is a possibility that later on he gets disassembled that for a surprise Shadow Blade that could also find pickoff opportunities. So no matter what, this is a great pickup that has some versatility and will be able to mitigate some of the major damage components of Newbee.Y's lineup.
So right now the game plan for CDEC Youth, I guess, just drag it out a bit more.
Yeah, they don't. They want to push with the
guess.
Aegis, but they don't want to push without the mechanism. So they kind of are caught between two awkward positions where Demon's at 700 gold away from the mech with no easy way to get that.
It's not that ideal at the same time. I mean, to just go back and farm. I mean, you probably want to be like taking a couple more T2 objectives, but Newbee have a pretty good defensive high ground, like defense at the same time. It's just not easy to break against Newbee.Y if they don't want to fight. They can just avoid it the whole time. CDEC getting closer to his BKB, and we're going to see a 3-man smoke coming from CDEC Youth.
Yeah, I mean, when you're pushing Ame down all the way bottom, you don't really expect the smoke coming in, so it's a very high likelihood they'll pick up the Dragonite, but it is going to be the Observer Ward that scouts out the Phoenix, and he's going to be the pick instead. No hope for him. Phoenix goes down to the Icarus dive, the Ancient Apparition shatters him, and then Dragonite ends up just TPing back home, blinking into the tree line.
And now they get a very nice aggressive Observer Ward out here as well.
So I want to note one thing about item builds is that Newbee.Y thought that this game would be a little bit slower paced. It was going to be Gyrocopter looking for a Sange and Yasha, and then he realizes, well, no, that's not going to come out fast enough. I really need a BKB. So Gyrocopter either kind of not meeting the quota he expected, or just not realizing how quickly CDEC could really rally with the early Solar Crest and such. He realizes how important the BKB is. So he and SCC are both going for a BKB, which will of course nullify a lot of spells and that pesky Solar Crest.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
So he finally completes it now at 21 minutes in. Now he can start to slowly make his way towards the Sange and Yasha. While Newbee.Y, they pop the Dragon Form, they will pressure this bottom T1. And it doesn't look like CDEC Youth plan to defend it for now. They're just leaving the demons there.
Wow.
Oh wait, he puts down the Tombstone.
Why?
Yeah, I don't get it.
Okay. Well, there you go.
3 gold for Dada. It's a lot of gold actually. It's 125 gold.
He just, here you go, have some money, and he raises it from the depths. I don't know. Whatever, not that consequential, but a little bit odd. Either way, we've got ourselves Mantle Style up on Juggernaut. Obviously great movement speed, attack speed now, some split push potential for him. Is there anything to like dodge or evade? I actually feel like other than maybe some mind games against the Bane, you're not actually going to be able to get too much out of the illusions in a combat environment.
I'm not sure, can you disengage, like can you dodge the Fire Spirits? Does it purge it if you pop the Mantle Style?
I can't recall, honestly. If it does, that's obviously beneficial, but I'm not too sure, to be honest.
I think it does, yeah. Alright, so Ward's gonna spell out June. It just expired, and SCCC looking for the blink, not gonna get it, and June very lucky. The Warriors and the Dragon Knight will just blink away from each other apparently.
Yep.
And Alchemist, back to farming Ancients, has his S&Y completed. He's just tanky and ready to fight.
So the Aegis will be expiring here in just 20 seconds time, so they didn't obviously get to make much use of that, but they are getting map control overall. Like, just having map control as an Alchemist team, you're already able to really say that, count that as a win. And so they're taking the Radiant jungle, they use the Dire jungle and the Ancients quite efficiently. And of course they did have the confidence to go for one pickoff as well, so all in all, good movement from CDEC.
I think Ame wants to try for solo Omni Slash. He's been pinged out by MR already. And Old Embrace maybe. Glimmer Cape. There we go. Actually, he's going to get the kill. The Tuskar shards will finish him off just in the nick of time. And Jaja is just going to run away. So they do get a tiny pick. But otherwise, that's the end of that. Inflame goes back to farming and pushing out the lanes. June's going to keep pushing out the T1. Well, SC wants to get some chip damage. He may be able to get this. Oh, but the Corrosive Breath will actually finish off S.C. He's not going to pop his BKB. Wait, he goes back in. He wants June. That's really aggressive. But where's the backup? He has 2 heroes on the way. June using the Sigil to slow him down.
Yeah, it looks like he'll be able to get his distance
Shard.
and he'll be okay. I mean, yeah, Bane is coming in
Oh,
with
he
the
stuck
flanking
around
of the
for
Force
too long.
Staff. And I'm lagging out again. Oh, Perfect World is not being my friend, but Tusk does fall as a result of the, I believe, the Force Staff play there from Bane.
Yep, so the Phoenix Grip and Inflame meanwhile stuns himself up, trying to go into Phoenix or the Wyvern. And looks like he will go for the Shiva soon. I think they want to defend this. They do have the Egg, they do have the Winter's Curse, they have all the ults needed except the Phoenix Grip, but it should be enough. Otherwise, nope. Inflame gonna pick up another Bounty. He's like had like 7 this game or something.
So guys, don't worry about adjusting your stream. It is not lag on my end or the streams. It is simply the connection to the Perfect World through the firewall, and it's not working out too well. But SCC, Dragon's Blood maxed out means that concoction doesn't do too much in terms of damage, and they'll just keep them on their toes, keep them suppressed while they, again, spread the map.
And Lut's gonna find that aggressive observer ward placed by CDEC Youth, takes it out, and CDEC now blind in the enemy jungle. Can't really do anything about it.
So BKB 10 on the gyrocopter as 9 seconds on the DK. Are they actually in a position to fight now that they have ultimates and BKBs, or is it still going to be too much lane pressure from CDEC? They'll just keep avoiding fights.
Okay, it's really hard for Newbee right now because they have to keep playing this turtle. They don't have enough items to compete against CDEC. But CDEC, what they can do right now is probably try to smoke. They should realize by now that Newbee.Y, they're kind of split up most of the times. So if they smoke and say force on the Dragon Knight and the Winter Wyvern, they can, yeah, that's what they need pretty much to take the T2 and pull ahead. What they're doing right now is not really accomplishing much. You can see that Demons is just AFK at a T1. Icy is just buggering around with Ame, but he does have his Midas, so he should get like his Aghanims up in the next 10 to 15 minutes if it drags on. Inflame AC or Basher? Shiva's almost up on the Phoenix as well. You don't want to be fighting into that.
I could see BKB being pretty strong for Inflame too. Well, only one hero is going to get Winter's Curse, so like you want to have the BKB to negate the secondary effect of Winter's Curse. Obviously the Fiend's Grip still goes through, but like there's still a lot of random stuns that you can avoid just having that BKB. But he is going to go for the AC first and foremost, and that's of course going to build him up nicely in terms of just overall team fight as well as farming speed. He's negative armor is such a great thing to have on the side of the Alchemist, and it also buffs up the Alchemist, or sorry, the Juggernaut a lot. Like, I kind of feel like a secondary effect of the Alchemist pick along with the Juggernaut here is really just to put Ame in a position just to succeed, where Ame just gets to go for items like Blink, Drums, Manta. He doesn't have to worry about negative armor. Obviously, the Alchemist has got that covered between his 2 effects, and later on, he's actually going to get a free Aghanim Scepter, where it's another free item slot type hero for in terms of Ags. It's not an item that Juggernaut ever wants to buy, but it's an item that you'll love to have, and so the Aghanims will buff him up while he gets 6 or 7 slotted with a Moon Shard.
And wait, oh hold on, Newbee.Y, they're smoked up. Can they find anything? Nope, looks like they just back off.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I mean, I also realized that Alchemist, you know, he can actually pull, if it drags out late enough, we might actually see an Aghanims on the Tuskar.
Could be interesting.
I don't think we've seen a game yet where the Warrior's Kick is actually, you know, like, I don't think it's actually hit that point where it's a first item after the blink on a Tusk. They always go for the safer options. It would be always fun to see though, because it kicks away BKB targets too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it sounds about right, but yeah, like you said, it's not one that we've really seen have much effect. So it's just like an idea of a possibility. We're going to see Jiao Jiao actually probably pop the BKB here. No, it's going to be Concoction onto SCC. And I'll actually let you handle the next fight, because I'm still stuttering a little bit here from Perfect World.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, Perfect World can be quite cruel. That's just the way it is. And wait, Dragon Knight? Okay, gets T1 tower. And CDEC, they don't feel confident in fighting at all. Seeing as, you know, the Shivas is up on the Phoenix, you've got the Dragon Knight, BKB, and the Plate Mill. He's just really tanky right now.
Yeah, I mean, in 2 levels, Phoenix is going to hit his peak. Level 16 Phoenix with Shiva's Guard is something you just can't handle with Newbee.Y's team behind him, or pretty much even without. The low base attack time of the Alchemist is nice, but it's still not going to be the biggest factor. Juggernaut is going for a Diffusal Blade, which I find quite curious. Manta Diffusal is an item that I've seen, a combo that I've seen a couple of times more recently on the Juggernaut. There's a few players that like it a lot more than others, though. And, oh, we're going to see a big fight in contesting this pit, since they've scouted it out, and they're ready to go with the Winter Wyvern.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Roshan has fallen to the down.
Double damage.
Alright, might have lost Hades there, but Phoenix is going to be sent up by a Super Concoction. There is going to be the Tombstone on the cliff. Moving forward here, Ame gets the Omni Slash out, but they're just going to Supernova. Helicopter taking a lot of damage here, and he is going to be barely Glimmer embracing away. It is going to be the Phoenix Egg to pop. Fiend's Grip out on June will actually survive. The Bane will go down, and now the Aegis will be popped on that Juggernaut. So he's going to be coming back, blinking forward, trying to find a final kill on Gyrocopter, spinning through the Sunray, who the Glimmer, it kind of at least gets scouted by the Sentry Ward. They see Jiao Jiao's path, and they will pursue him to the end. But SCC still here, still ready, with a lot of HP to work around. Jiao Jiao will finally fall. Second call down coming out. He starts and ends the fight with a call down, but SCC gets his Dragon Form out, stuns, and then blinks away while the Snowball pursues. Are there Ice Shards? There's no mana for it, and the Tombstone only gets 1 zombie out on the Phoenix, who still Icarus dives away. Alchemist will blink, stun forward, and Dragon Knight looks to be finished off in the end.
God, the Phoenix is just probably going to die here. Yep. Trying to keep the Dragon Knight alive, but looks like it's in vain. Yep, sorry I got disconnected for a while there. Perfect well, apparently, I'm not sure. Maybe my internet's being a bit hiccupy, but otherwise, yeah, I think Jiao Jiao went in too early without the team miscommunication. His BKB was on for the longest time, and he didn't do anything, and they couldn't even clear the Tombstone. And at the same time, I think there was a screw up on the Phoenix part, because he went for the Icarus dive. He didn't get the Fire Spirits in anybody with the Shivas, and his egg was just quite useless, actually.
Well, I mean, at least it didn't die, but yeah, I definitely think that he could have at least gotten a little bit more value, because you get it back for free. All the cooldowns reset. But now we've got this high ground push. The melee rack's in significant danger. There is Winter's Curse coming up in just 2 seconds. It's going to have to be a big one here. We do see Ame Nightmared up, Inflame, going to be eating a nice little homing missile. There's the call down. Where's the Fiend's Grip? Winter's Curse stacking hard. Oh, they're going to actually put it on Ame and Inflame. And they're going to try to focus down the Juggernaut as he runs away. BKB pop to pursue. Won't be concocted, but still Ame gets that blink back. They'll force everything here, and they might only lose the Ancient Apparition. Undying, also in question. He doesn't have mana for TP just yet, but it looks like he's going to get enough distance. He can just hide in the trees. So the tier 3 fell. The melee rack's down to 430 HP, but only it looks like Icy. Oh, barely getting finished off by that homing missile.
Probably would have made it if he did that like earlier, because the missile gets faster and faster the longer it's in the air. So yeah, if he was like maybe half a second quicker on the 4-staff TP, he definitely would have made it. And okay, so CDEC, I mean, they get a T3, they get minimal casualties, just losing the AA. So nothing of value is really lost.
Alrighty, so now we have a position where Alchemist and Juggernaut are really trying to build up their next big items. Butterfly for the Juggernaut, but what are we looking for this Alchemist? Abyssal Blade, a possibility. Heart isn't the worst. Octarine Core, even if you want to make sure your Chemical Rage is almost always off cooldown. Do you have a favorite item at this position in the game?
On which hero? Sorry.
On the
again?
Alchemist. I mean, Abyssal Blade seems really good because of all the BKBs you're up against, but I'm not 100% convinced.
I would definitely favor the Abyssal. I actually like that item a lot, seeing as it could be the one way. Since he has the blink, he's probably the most mobile here at the moment who can stop a Fiend Script if necessary. And if Flame commits himself to doing that because he's so tanky at the same time, he can really screw up things for Newbee, and this is what he needs. But he probably won't go for that. If anything, he's going to use it to taking out like the Dragon Knight or Gyro. But Gyro is still so far behind. Maybe can complete the Sanj for the S&Y now. He still needs so much more. He's just so far behind.
Yeah.
Phoenix needs to do more in this game.
Yeah, I suppose so. The egg upgrade will not only increase the attacks to destroy, but will give him 20 more damage per second, as well as an extra half second on the stun. But overall, just, I mean, what can the Phoenix do differently? Like, I feel like he's pretty much playing, obviously you mentioned the Fire Spirits and kind of getting more value out of that, but otherwise, like, is there an item that he could go that would be really changing? He's getting all his spells off. It's not like he needs a Yules or a BKB. Hex? I don't know.
Maybe a Refresher Soul. That's probably one big item you would need.
Yeah, but I think at that point you just give farm to like the Winter Wyvern or somebody instead and get them a refresher orb that really matters.
They're smoked up, and Newbee.Y just gonna they're just gonna dodge. They sense the danger since all the lanes. Yeah, the top lane is quite pushed in. It's a huge wave and nobody's there, so they pretty much guessed where CDEC is. That's just good game sense and map awareness.
Yeah. So smoke situation right now, there is no smoke for the Dire side at all for the next 5.5 minutes, and there is one on the Bane, but they're otherwise out of stock. So one more smoke available for the next 5 minutes on the side of Newbee.Y, and that is pretty much all. Otherwise it comes down to warding, and right now the Radiant have that advantage.
I mean, okay, just out of curiosity, do you think an Aghanim Scepter on the Phoenix would actually be a considerable item in this situation?
Pretty much
just
never.
So that he can save somebody?
I almost never think that that's a real item on the hero. It's just so risky. Like, it can work, but you're also, like, I would say twice as more likely to just get focused down. You only have 3 heroes outside the egg. You have 2 heroes that are essentially 11 auto attacks away from death. I think it's the riskiest thing you can do. The only hero that combo that I actually think the Aghanim Scepter on Phoenix is possible on would be a Medusa, because you can still Stone Gaze and then get caught in the egg, and they can't actually attack it or they'll be petrified. And then, of course, Medusa gets full HP and mana. But that is literally the only reality in my mind.
I mean, the only reason why I'm considering like Aghanims on the Phoenix is mostly because so far all his Novas have been very, very defensive, and at the same time, this is, you know, it's not like the Bane and the Winter Wyvern, their ults haven't been used for haven't been used to their maximum potential in the team fights. It's mostly just for control. So if you can get a Winter's Curse and a good Fiend Script, you can actually save the Dragon Knight on the Gyro and Aghanims in the Phoenix, which would actually turn things around for a new start in a fight against CDEC, so that's pretty much why I brought it up.
Sure enough, sure enough. We're going to see the Manta style actually picked up by the Gyrocopter. Didn't go for the S&Y, just going to have that casual belt of strength haunting him for a while. But Ame actually just got himself an Aghanim Scepter synthetically from the Alchemist. So
this is where it begins.
that is, I mean, obviously the Alchemist already has a really good core of items, so this is the time you want to start building Aghanims. But since the AA almost will be able to pick up his in just 2,000 gold, and he has really nothing better to spend the gold on. It's really great that the Juggernaut gets this free item slot, where now he's up to 12 Omni Slashes, gets a little bit of extra stats, and a cooldown of only 70 seconds. We talked about how short their cooldowns are, how they're always able to fight as long as Omni Slash is back up. Well, now all their cooldowns are 70 seconds or less, and they're pretty much always going to be able to make the plays happen.
50 Ags, Juggernaut's gonna have a very good time with the Omni Slash. He probably won't be so stingy with it now. And looks like he's going for the Butterfly pretty soon. He's just 1,000 gold away from it, a bit of 1,000. Waiting for the next Roshan.
That's going to be spawning right after they left the pit, so it looks like both teams will be unaware of this for some time. And I guess that favors Newbee since they're not really in a position to move on it. Whereas, like, if Inflame knew about it, he'd be in the pit right now. But just walks on by, and the Fog of War will inhibit their information. A nice Observer Ward here on the top lane. Is there a gem, though? I remember, yeah, Phoenix picking one up, and he's close enough that it's a possible D-Ward. They're currently covering the cliffs, but I think he'll walk up here and clear this one out now.
I mean, when you look at the net worth distribution, do you think that, you know, despite the Bane being so low in net worth chart, do you think he's still able to play a huge impact in the fights?
Yeah, I mean, the 4 staff is plenty, honestly. Like, obviously, you'd love to have yourself, like, a Lincoln Sphere or something to make those Fiend Script that much more reliable, but honestly, the way he's been running his disables this game has still been pretty high impact, and I think, yeah, somebody has to play the 5 position. You don't want the Wyvern to play 5 here. The Wyvern needs to have a late-game possibility of a Refresher Orb. He's got Glimmer now, might go for a Blink or 4 staff next, but he has to consider, like, the 60-minute Refresher that could be game-winning. And I feel like getting the Bane farm priority when he's already got enough to be relevant, it would be a mistake. And actually, Newbee walking into the pit, cheese on this Roshan, so very important.
But CDEC, they will know that Roshan is probably happening, or they're going to guess where they are, precisely because the bottom lane is pushed in. It's actually at the doorstep of the enemy base, but there's nobody defending the Radiant side, and at the same time, Newbee, they cannot afford to give away this Roshan, otherwise it's high ground, but it's already too late. CDEC, they will claim Aegis and Cheese.
Yep, Aegis going to the Juggernaut, Cheese to the Alchemist as they drop their drums. But really interesting pickup is the Lotus Orb on the Tusk. Always have to consider it in his possible item builds just because this hero loves to bring utility to the fights. But obviously so good against Bane, against the Dragon Knight's Dragon Tail, and most importantly the Winter's Curse. Obviously Winter's Wyvern doesn't really care that much if he himself gets cursed, but he also emits a giant AoE of death where anybody nearby him, any ally that tries to get to the fight, has to walk through a position that might cost them their Wyvern. They'll kill him off, they'll get disabled, and it just won't be pretty. We're going to see a big fight break out here. Radiant has 3 buybacks left available. The Dragon Knight in particular is the one to be lacking. Ame here gets stunned up initially, and we're going to be seeing a nice play from the Winter Wyvern, going aggressive, going for the egg, and trying to force Ame back. The Lotus Orb, the 4 staff, it's going to be on Demons that they go for the Winter's Curse, and that's going to be the Undying dropping down quick. But he goes ahead, Guardian Greaves, Inflame, caught inside the Fiend Script concoction, and he's going to be going down. Oh no, losing the Alchemist, now popping the Aegis. Despite a great Ice Blast, it looks like CDEC can't get a single kill in this fight. They've already lost too much. Now Ame is going to be going down too. He tries to flutter away, but Blink Stun knocks him out. That's going to be a huge defense for Newbee. Committing all their ultimates, down his slash, bouncing around. Ame trying to blink out at the end of it, but in the end, it's still going to be 3 major kills going out against CDEC. Wow, look at that gold too. What? It's 5,800 gold exchange, thanks to the fact this Alchemist and Juggernaut are so big. I mean, I don't even know if you noticed this, but Alchemist picked up a friggin' Moonshard. Like, this guy's so
Oh yeah,
farmed.
okay, I didn't notice that.
But that gold turns against you as now Newbee are on the comeback train. Refresher did come out for the Phoenix. He got enough. He farmed enough, and yeah, we're gonna be maybe seeing a double egg, double Shiva.
That's really weird. I'm not even sure whether he has the mana pool for it. Let's do the math. 375. He actually doesn't have the mana for the egg. Yeah, if he pops the Shivas as well, he definitely doesn't have enough mana. So he needs to go for like other items, like maybe a Yules, maybe the Hex, more mana, you know, just more items to increase his intelligence pool. And right now, CDEC, if you see, they're so afraid. They just don't know what to do right now. They're just waiting at the doorsteps of their base. And thanks to that, I mean, Gyrocopter has 4,755 gold, and this could actually be his MKB.
Man, this lag is so frustrating because this was a really good game, very intense from both sides, great team fights, but the packet loss is real, and we'll just have to go hope for the best in spite of it. Jia 2000 MKB, yeah, he isn't going to be buying out for completely. I thought maybe, since they're kind of right now backs against their base, I thought he might consider saving and making sure that he always had buyback. But no, he's going for the full commitment here to nullify the Butterfly and the Solar Crest, and it's probably the right call.
CDEC youth, I think they dragged this on for too long. The Phoenix is very, very strong late game, and now I think they want to force a fight here. Newbee feeling very confident. The Blink is going to come in and going on in flame, and the Shiva's got everything. It's a very nice Nova, but the Winter's Curse is going to catch June, and Army is going to rack him down. The Colon's going to go on Army with the Phoenix as well. Ice Blast going to connect onto actually 3 heroes, and another Nova. Here comes the second Nova in flame, just stuck there.
Oh,
He
wow.
could actually be down. Wow, this is going to be a high gun, and the cheese will be popped. Icy going to fall here in flame as well, and another Shiva's guard. Inflame is just gonna die here, and Demons can't do anything. Oh, actually, maybe not. The Sorb's gonna keep him alive. Inflame, he needs to throw the stun. Laser from the Phoenix is gonna kill him off. The Juggernaut and the Omni Slash is gonna kill off one here at the back, and that's just the Bane. And this could actually be the opening. There's no buyback, and the Phoenix will have to back off right now. Dragon's Tail gonna stop Army, but just barely, and this will be the T2 at least. Shiva's Guard once again buying him a bit more time. Maybe a heart on the Phoenix?
No, he'll get away. That was an insane fight coming out from CDEC. The buyback, of course, coming out from the Juggernaut. The cheese used by the Alchemist, but still they can't hold against it. That double egg was so insane. 195-second cooldown, but well worth it just for the impact he was able to make in that fight. And I gotta look over at the Dragonite too. With that Blink Dagger, he got at least 3, if not 4, amazing Dragon Tails out that isolated a kill target every single time. On top of that, a full Fiend's Grip on the Juggernaut, killing him the first time. That was just brilliant execution from Newbee. They get the jump they want, and they just play CDEC like a fiddle. What a beautiful combo from them, and they were able to now kind of take the entire map. I mean, I don't think CDEC feel at all confident with just their cores in what they're accomplishing so far in this late game.
Yeah, and I think I had a huge brain fart early on with my comment on the Phoenix Egg refresher thingy. Yeah, I totally had a brain fart there.
Yeah, it is. It is enough mana, but yeah, it's only 100 for the active that she was. So. But he doesn't get to put out much Fire Spirits. In fact, I don't think he gets to put out only one set of Fire Spirits. And when you were talking about it, he couldn't put out any.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of view the Phoenix in a way as something like a Tidehunter instead, because I rarely see refresher on a Phoenix, so I had a brain fart there. Sorry for that. Okay, and I think Newbee, they can definitely win this game now. This is definitely their game to lose, since the gold graph has dropped a huge 20,000 drop all the way in favor of Newbee now.
Yeah, this is going to be a difficult point for CDEC to bring back, especially with heroes like Undying. I mean, Guardian Greaves are great, but the hero himself doesn't really contribute that much in this late game stage unless he gets fed in Aghanims, which I'm not sure the Alchemist can afford another. I mean, yeah, he's rolling in dough in the sense that he got that Moon Shard, but he really still needs to build himself up something more. A heart could be a possibility for him. A BKB, I think, is still a pretty essential pickup, because that Dragon Tail, like 2 or 3 times in a row, just screwed him over.
And Dragonite's making its way to MKB as well, and a heart. I mean, he has a casual vitality booster and a demon edge, so he's actually really tanky. And this heal from the Phoenix is just so much. It's probably going to be a heart afterwards. He already has 1,600 HP, so heal is 6%. It's supposed to heal like 2.5% HP per second. That's actually a lot.
And I'm not sure, SCC, I might have misread his inventory, but I think he had the Demon Edge first, and now he picked up the VIP booster, so he might actually go back for the heart before the data list. We'll see. I think.
Really? I thought he had the booster early on. Yeah, he already had the booster.
I might have missed it. I definitely haven't been clicking on him as much as a few of these other guys that have been just skyrocketing in items. Gyrocopter and DK's progression has been pretty gradual, I would say.
Demons, he's been nullified so bad. It's like the Tombstone doesn't even matter right now. He's pretty much a non-factor. The only thing you can do and hope for is a really good Ice Blast.
Yeah, and even the Lotus Orb I think is probably really important. I think June, more than anything else, needs to make sure the Lotus Orb is at the perfect timing on the perfect target. Because so far, like, the Winter's Curse has been going on weird targets, like just throwing it on Demons casually to get him crit down by his ally and stuff like that. It's actually really smart from the Wyvern not to focus on the cores. They can deal with the Juggernaut and the Alchemist as long as they don't have a team behind them. So they use the abilities like Winter's Curse on the secondary heroes.
And because the Alchemist, he's been pulling all these Aghanim Scepters out, he really needs like a bit of lockdown, a bit more damage. He's pretty much staled in terms of item progression. His net worth is still climbing, but nothing much he can do. The Moonshot is pretty much a wasted item. He should have gone for the Abyssal instead.
Yeah.
Probably be the safer option.
Abyssal, BKB, even just the heart, just something to do more in these fights, because so far it's been very lackluster. We're gonna see how the smoke break out. The Observer Ward's gonna scout them out. Roshan not gonna be up for a little bit here. So in the end, Newbee at least don't find what would otherwise be like a game-winning pickup. If they find somebody there with that smoke play, then CDEC cannot hold 5v4, and they don't. Well, they only have buyback on Inflame. Finally we get a BKB on Ame, so at least he's going to be able to nullify some of those effects, either the Nightmare or the Dragon Tail are the two I'm looking at. But will that actually give them the ability to focus the egg? Because I feel like now that they know about the Refresher Orb, and they know what they're up against, they have to say, let's just kill the first egg, so we don't have to worry about the second one. I feel like it's worth committing for it, even if you lose a hero or two during it. The problem is whether or not MRR actually lets that happen, thanks to the, of course, great disable he brings.
Alright, Roshan is up. The Sigil has just scouted it out, and the bottom lane is pushing in with double siege carts, but the middle lane is still quite pushed in. So I think that was actually a bit brave from the Juggernaut. It was too risky. He was just pushing out the middle lane, despite not knowing where the whole of Newbee were. And this is just hard for CDEC because they need so many items, but they just don't have the way to farm safely.
Yeah, at least they got the BKBs up though. Like that's a huge difference in their previous team fight to the next one. Juggernaut and Alchemist both have them. And I don't think that they're favored in the next fight, but they at least have a chance. Whereas before, all these spells were just making it so easy to kite them, and they couldn't be actually impactful. Now, as long as they take a fight away from a creep wave, so that the Omni Slash does its full impact, I think there's some potential value here, and they're gonna get this smoke that might be able to set them up. Oh, Phoenix walking into the wrong part of town and doesn't break the smoke. They don't know what's lurking in the shadows. Then Sable Concoction going up. Who are they gonna focus? It's gonna be on the Bane. They pop their BKBs. They go in hard and they kill off late quickly. Very nice. Now the egg. They're gonna focus down the egg the first time, like I said, and there is gonna be the death of the Phoenix too. Now Ame with that Lotus spin away is gonna have to Omni Slash onto the Dragon Knight and the Gyrocopter, taking them both down very quickly, and they will get a triple kill for Ame. In the meantime, Inflame will chase down and kill off the Wyvern, and that is a 5-man wipe for only one. A beautiful smoke, and they take a huge fight.
Just wow. I mean, they made the right decision, like you said. They just destroyed the Phoenix egg, and now CDEC looks like they're back in the game. Newbee just not responding in the right way. The egg was just way too near in the middle of everybody. Maybe a bit further back up on the high ground would have been enough to definitely win them the fight. So the refreshers are actually not even getting a chance to pop off even the first egg. CDEC looks like they will force buybacks out from Newbee.Y as they charge down the mid.
Yeah, some inventory issues, first world problems coming up for CDEC.Y as they are trying to figure out what to leave in the pit. T.A carries the cheese, drops his Midas, and picks up the Juggernaut's Diffusal Blade. Just carting things around, but yeah, there's no time for worrying about that. They want to take racks as quickly as possible. No buybacks to be forced as it's down to the 22nd. Oh, they are buying back. They have to buy back on the DK too, though. This is 2 core buybacks at sub 25 seconds. I assume. I mean, why else would the Gyrocopter buy back here? It's going to be maybe a Fiend's Grip here on Ame. He's all by himself. June can get the Lotus Orb, but that's not going to nullify the effects in place. Phoenix just going for the dive for now. Bringing Ame very low. That's going to be the Aegis Force as they curse him up. But that's a big winner's curse to commit, as now they come back with everybody, and Phoenix in some real trouble. Pops the Refresher, pops the egg, and now it's being focused down by Inflame, going down quickly with nothing to cover him. He's going to have to buy back. Now we see big damage coming out from CDEC. They have the Omni Slash as soon as this stun expires, and it's going to go out onto Chia. Again, he doesn't manage the Omni Slash, and he can't spread the damage. It's a wipe. It's a 5-man wipe and an ultra kill for Ame as CDEC.Y surge forth to victory here in Game 1. Against all odds. It looks so difficult after so many failed fights, but CDEC get their BKBs out and they put them to work, taking Game 1 in style, 27-17.
I think they were very worried there when it looked like Newbee had the comeback chance. But the Phoenix, oh my god, I can't emphasize that he used the Refresher. He was so desperate to get the egg off. He used the Refresher even though there's like 7 seconds left on his cooldown for the Nova. And at the same time, he just did a suicide dive. He just went in the middle of 5 heroes, hoping his team would back him up, but he didn't realize that everyone was so far behind. that he just died. That was just a dieback. So CDEC Youth proving their grit. They overcome Newbee Youth in an amazing fashion. Newbee just throwing away the chance at a comeback.
Yeah, I really feel like the Winter Wyvern farm priority should have been there. If the Wyvern had a refresher orb at this like 52-minute stage, then I think they have a much firmer grasp on the game. But as it turned out, just quick kills on the Bane, and then of course their focus on the egg. That's the weakness of a refresher. That's the weakness of an Aghanim's on the Phoenix. You just give them the enemy team more incentive to focus everything they've got on that egg. And in this case, the big mistake was, in fact, the Wyvern ulti was used out of sync with the Phoenixes, because you have to have one to cover the other. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. So in the end, it's going to be a successful game one for CDEC, and they are looking strong going into game two. Obviously, showing a lot of fortitude, mental discipline, and just ability to come back from a bit of despair. That's going to be bringing us to game two. Obviously, we had some slideshow issues in game one. I apologize for the issues with Perfect World. That is completely out of my control. It's just something we have to bear with, and hopefully something that plays a little nicer going into game two. We'll be seeing that game come up in just a few minutes here. Once again, thanks for tuning in. I'm myself, M. Blaze. You can follow me at BlazeCasting on Twitter with my wonderful co-caster Hades at HadesDota. We'll be seeing you guys in about, I would say, 4 or 5 minutes time for Game 2 of Newbee.Y versus CDEC Youth. See you then.